Hello out there in YouTube land. This is Ham Radio Man Oz, and this is episode number 11. And we got some really cool, interesting things coming up very soon. So stay tuned. Episode number 12 and 13 are going to be really interesting as well. So what I'm going to try and do today for you is try and get through as much as I can. But today's topic is we're going to talk about weather fax decoding and satellite decoding, and also HF fax decoding for the weather images and various other things. Now, just to give you a bit of information, what we'll be talking about today is we'll be utilizing what's called a weather fax decoder, and this is the weather fax decoder that I have. It's an R2FX. I couldn't remember my own brand there that I got there. R2FX that I bought from a gentleman in Germany. It makes this wonderful. It's all self-contained in this aluminium box, and as you can see, that's the front of it there. Now the front has a push button to cycle through the various channels. There are 6 channels. There are 2 yellow LEDs to indicate which antenna is on, and it can actually go between 2 antennas automatically for the best signal, and the green LEDs to indicate the signal that you actually are receiving. So very nice little unit indeed. It was about $280, I think, with an antenna, Australian. I'll get to that in a minute because I've got my invoice here that shows the price of it. On the back of it, you'll see there's a serial connector for going into a computer, a power lead, an external speaker output, or which goes to your line in or microphone, and 2 antenna connections. And you plug either one of your 2 antennas into those connections. Now, just a little heads up on the next episode as well, episode number 12, we'll be talking about a little kit that I bought and got today from the Waverley Amateur Radio Club in Sydney. Thank you, a big shout out to the Waverley Amateur Radio Club. This is going to be wonderful. I'm going to piece this together on camera and time lapse it so that everybody can see how it develops. I consider myself reasonable at soldering, so we'll find out. So this will be episode number 12. We'll get into this one. So this is a what it is, guys. It's like those rig runners that you see on the internet with the various power distribution. This is what it is. It's a power pole kit. And this one I paid $40 plus $8 postage. Thank you, Waverley. That's very good. And it includes an LED display for the amperage. So looking forward to that. Anderson connections as well. And everything comes complete. So very, very good. We'll see how all that goes as we get into episode number 12. Alright, so basically what we have today is a review and some information on, of course, weather fax decoding, satellite decoding. Now, I'm talking about the NOAA weather satellites that orbit the Earth. Now, over the course of time, since I've been doing this, several satellites were decommissioned, and some are almost decommissioned, and some are almost out of service. We have, at the moment, we have NOAA 15, 18 and 19. We used to have 14, 15, 16, 17, but the others have all been decommissioned, as they do over time, because parts wear out and unfortunately we lose the satellites. So we used to get 3 satellites a day passing over the top, which was great for reception. But now you might get 2 a day and maybe 1 in the evening, but it's still fine, it's still okay. NOAA 15, you can check on the status of the satellites on the NOAA website, and it'll tell you the status of how they get progressing, like whether there's a malfunction on any part of the satellite equipment, what's still usable. So NOAA 15 unfortunately doesn't produce the high quality images it used to. It still sends an image, and you can still get an image quite clearly from it, but it's not as clear as it used to be. NOAA 18 and 19 are still quite good and get good images. So let's suppose you want to get into this and know about the weather fax decoding. Well, the first thing you need to do is do your homework. So there's a few different people now making these VHF receiver boxes. So these are VHF. The NOAA satellites operate on VHF between 136 and 138 megahertz. And you can also use a scanner, like a radio scanner. There are several that support receiving very good weather fax images without the need to purchase a special decoder. And using the program that I use, which is excellent software and probably the best you'll ever need to use, I'll go through that a little bit later on as well, which is called WX2IMG, but it supports a wide variety of receivers, including your scanners. And what it allows it to do is, if you've got your scanner hooked into your computer, it allows the program to shift the frequency as best it can to match the Doppler effect. And that's very important because the satellite's moving. So you're going to get this Doppler frequency shift. As it moves across your path, there's going to be a shift in that frequency receiving. And it might only be a few kilohertz or even a few hertz, but that Doppler effect will affect the image you receive. So one of these little specialized VHF boxes actually do a lot better, because not only does the computer take control of this, it shifts the Doppler frequency perfectly to match and sync with the satellite as it's being received. So well worth the investment in one of these. And of course a good antenna, because there's a couple of different types of antennas. You can get what's called a tunstall, which is what I got, or a quadrophilia. And a quadrophilia is a type of antenna that I originally first made following instructions on the internet, which are very easy to make, and they do work quite extremely well, just using some copper tubing and some PVC pipe. But I abandoned that one after a while when I bought the tunstall. So I bought the antenna and the receiver together, and it was €285 when I actually bought it. So there you go. And it was quite easy, and the guy shipped it out. Now the one I got was from Holger Eckhart. Sorry if I mispronounced his name. Holger Eckhart, and you can easily look him up. Holger Eckhart. I'll try and put a link in the bottom of this video to his website. I'm not sure if he's still doing them, so if there's no link there, then he's not doing them. But I'll try and put a few links up as best I can in the description box below. So we'll get into that. Now of course this decoder was very good because it came with some very good instructions, some very clear and easy to read and understand instructions, and it also has the schematic diagram on the back of it as well. So I suppose if you wanted to build yourself a second one, you could actually follow that using the parts and that, and probably build one. But then I preferred to get professionally built because this guy knows what he's doing. It came with software as well, because you need to set up various things. There's another schematic included inside, and of course all the instructions are in English and so on. So we'll get more into that as we go. So the next part of this video will show you this little box in action and an image being received and decoded, and to show you. Now the other thing is we're going to touch on is HF fax, which you can receive on any HF radio or shortwave receiver, and using a special program. I use one called CTTY, and you can use various other programs to receive HF faxes and get the same type of weather maps that you would get from your local Bureau of Meteorology service provider. So as we go back to this, we'll see it in action. As you can see now, the unit is scanning away on all 6 channels that it's going through, except it's missing the last channel there. And why is that? That's just because that's not an active channel, as to say. So at the moment it's scanning 6 channels, but only 5 are actually scanning, because the 6th channel is a reserved channel. Now I can stop that at any time, select an individual channel just by pushing the black select button, if I want to actually highlight a specific channel. Now if the computer is not controlling the box, then I can manually select the channel. On the yellow LEDs, antenna 1 is lit up because that's the antenna I have plugged in, and the green signal bar, well, there's no signal because there is no satellite at this time. So the nearest satellite, the next satellite passing is in 2 hours 39 minutes, which will be NOAA 19. Go to the link in the website, which is below in the description. I'll put the link up to it in the description, so you can go to that as well. Register it, buy it. I do suggest supporting it. It's a really great piece of software. So the software I use by choice is called WX2IMG. Really nice piece of software, and I'll put that up in the description in the link below. So there'll be a link to it. And of course this allows you to do everything. Now, from some previous images that I've actually already received, here you can see that NOAA 15 and NOAA 18 images that I've received. Now, of course, when it's receiving, the image quality is more like black and white, like this. I can bring this up. This is from yesterday's decoding. Now you can see here, just as an example, it's gone from dark to light here. There's two channels on every satellite, A channel and a B channel. Now the B channel looks quite okay, but the A channel has changed. What has happened here is very, very simple. There was a change in receiving volume. The volume here, where it's darker, was a little too low, and up here it was a little too high. So what happened was that I moved my microphone or my line input up a little bit at the time, and of course it distorted. Now that will also happen if the signal, as it passes overhead, if the volume changes dramatically when it's receiving. So what you need to do is you have to find, the first couple of passes will be trial and error. You need to set your volume levels so that it's not too high and not too low. This program is brilliant because when it's receiving, it has down the bottom area of the screen, it'll show you the signal, recording, and there'll be a volume here. You can see the volume here. If it's yellow, the volume's too soft. If it's green, it's just right. If it's red, it's too high. So you need to set it so that you've got your recording volumes at a reasonable level. Now if I go into my recording devices, I'm actually using a microphone input because I have an external sound card on this one at the moment. So I think it was, from memory, this one here, USB sound device. Yes, and you can see I've got the level here set for 34. So not too high, not too low, but I found around 34, 35 on my one produces the volume control on the software to be constantly green throughout the whole satellite pass. So again, you'll need to experiment with the volumes. Now once you do get a nice image anyway, this is NOAA 15 I received yesterday as well. I'll just bring that up so you can see that that was not too bad. What we actually seen is it outlines the coast of Australia, and we can see the cloud and all that. And you might say, well, that's all really good, but what else can we do? Well, the program actually can composite animated sequence of pictures or just normal pictures to whatever you'd like. So what I do is I have it set to receive different types of images and what I want to look at. And one is called false color. It's a false color image, but it produces basically a color for the land, color for the clouds, and color for the sea. To me, that just makes it more interesting to look at. And I say, okay, well, this little cross here shows where my home QTH is, and shows the cloud cover that was coming through. This was yesterday coming through. We had a few storms come through yesterday, so that shows that through. Now you can also have it produce an image where you can see the rain and precipitation that's in those clouds. And it will tell you that because of these coloured lines on the side tell each image how to decode it. Something to do with the satellite decoding is all contained in these informational bars on the sides. But the program can produce, depending on the thickness and density of the cloud, what is likely to have heavy rain, heavy storms, and I found it to be pretty accurate. And of course you can have animations produced as well, and so on. So let's bring up the website where you get this program from. This is it here, WX to IMG, and it's really constantly updated. The programmer constantly is updating. There is a new version, a better version, but I didn't like the better version too much at the moment because it's still in testing. You can see here he's had many improvements under support under Linux and Banana PI, but I'm using the last stable version, which is version 2.10.11, and tells you how to upgrade, how to buy it, and so on. It's not very expensive at all, and it's well worth upgrading and buying and having a look at. You can use it, a lot of limited services, but you can use the program itself without having to register. It will still work, but there's a lot more, and this is a New Zealand based designer, I think, and there's a lot of links to a lot of other things, but it's really good. www.wxtoimg.com, and that'll take you to the homepage. I'll put a link in the description. Very easy to use. Okay, so we'll come back to this, of course. I'll continue this video in about 2.5 hours when it's receiving that satellite, so you can see it in action. Now we are about to receive NOAA 18, which is northbound, and it's only a minute out. Now if I quickly go over to a WX track, which I use to see where it is, and I can see the circle of where it is. So here it is, NOAA 18, and it looks like it'll be a very good pass right over almost over the top. So WX track, I have my weather satellites and I have the International Space Station in the picture as well, which is always nice to know where it is. But here it comes. We'll go back to our fax, our weather fax thing. We're only 1 minute out, and as it starts to receive, hopefully I've adjusted my volume level on the input to it again, just down a little bit, which hopefully won't affect it a lot, but it'll hopefully make it. If you have any more than about 60% volume showing up over here, you've probably got too much. If you've got any less than about 40, you've probably got too less. It's a fine line picking right in the middle of it until you get used to it. And I haven't been doing this for a while, so I haven't been fiddling around with the volumes as much. Henceforth, this is why this one didn't receive the full-sized image that I wanted to, or decode the pictures that I wanted to. But alright, it's virtually 0 time, so in exactly 1 minute it'll start to click in, or less than 1 minute now. So we'll sit and we'll just watch this, and you'll see the image start receiving. I'll explain a couple of things to you very briefly, and then I'll time-lapse this so that you're not sitting back waiting the full amount of time. Here we go, it's just clicked in. The computer has got control of the box. The volume is good, it's at 50%. Recording, and the signal is, although it's showing a small signal, we'll still have enough for the image coming through. This is the processing time here. But this is the critical part, is the volume. We want it to stay in the green, not too high up, not too low down. We don't want it red. If it's red, it's too high. If it's yellow, it's too low. So as you can see, the image is coming through now. And we're done. So now it's finished processing, and as you can see, while it was coming up, there was a few issues. One was it was changing from darker to lighter and so on. Now, what was causing that? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to explain that. First of all, there's a reason why it was changing from the dark to the light. If I can find the raw image. Okay, here's the raw image here. I don't think I can bring that one up again because it is a raw image. But just to explain, first of all, there was a lot of noise in this area here, and that was because it was approaching us. And it has various things to affect the signal. So the noise there, then it sort of went dark and was receiving well, and then it changed to a lighter stage. And there's a couple of times where you notice the color change. I was actually adjusting the level of the volume up a couple of notches and down a couple of notches because it was going too low and it was going too high. So that's what I say about getting that perfect medium where the sound is, and you'll be fine. Once it's decoded, it will then analyze everything. Now, it does give me a warning down here too, saying that solar elevation 4.5 was less than 15 degrees. So that has to do with decoding one of the types of images that I like it couldn't do. And it tells me over here the next satellite is in 7 hours. Well, we're not going to wait 7 hours. So let's have a look at what we got though. So we come back to the main image. That this is what's left on the screen. And this is very, very good actually anyway. It shows my location. It shows the outline of Australia. And you can see the water and all of that and a bit of cloud up there. But this is where it gets really fun though, I think. You go into your saved images. And then we can see the various images that have been created from the satellites we've received. So let's have a look at one I really like, the false color one, or what the MCIR. MCIR and false color, pretty much the sort of same thing that I like to see them. So what we can see here is it's basically a false color image. So the satellite program, the WX2 image program, has determined basically a color for the land, color for the water, and color for the clouds, and density. So you can see at the moment over my location there's a lot of cloud, and outside the window at the moment it's very overcast, but there's no wind blowing at the moment. So whether or not we'll get a storm tonight again, I'm not sure yet. I'll have to wait and see. But come back to the saved images, and then we've got one where we can check out precipitation in the clouds, and we can see that there's a little bit of rain around us. The thicker the image, it seems to show up a bit more of the cloud and precipitation inside that cloud. So thunderstorms and that sort of thing can be easily seen, as on this image here from an earlier satellite. This shows you a lot of storm activity very close to my location, and it shows out the various colours, like red is storm, heavy, dark, light. So it's all to do with the rainfall and storm activity. So there's many different images you can actually have the program create. Now, it's not the only program that it will do the satellite decoding. There's quite a few different programs, but I like this one because it's the best one, and it's simple to set up and supports everything. So if you go into options, you can disable the auto decode if you want. You can disable the phase lock loop. I don't worry about any of that. You can crop the telemetry, you can resync it, disable the map overlay, noise filters, despeckle, and so on and so on and so on. There's just so many things. You choose your active satellites and the frequencies that they're active on. You go to your recording options, and this is where you've got your receiver set up. As you can see, I've got R2FX selected, and there's various types of receivers and radios that you can use. FRG 9600, BC 780 XLTs, different types of scanners. So you don't have to have a dedicated receiver to do it, but it's better if you do. And then you choose the COM port, because mine's being controlled by the computer. So the COM port, I leave the baud rate on the default, and your input, and the type of antenna that you're using. Now with the antenna, you can see all your different types of antennas. Turnstile, I keep calling it tunstile. Turnstile, that's the antenna. Why did I call it tunstile? I don't know, but anyway. Turnstile, homebrew antennas, all sorts of different antennas. Some are bought, same as I said quadrophilia before. It's quadrophylla or something like that. Anyway, QFH we call them in short. So excuse me for my pronunciation of being wrong. But you got here, see, just going 2 meter Yagis, you know, long wire antennas. There's all sorts of different types of antennas you can use. I prefer the turnstile one because it's just a really nice looking antenna. So forth. And of course, I can set up, if I have a rotator, I can actually set up a COM port to control the rotator. Now that's something I'm going to look at eventually down the line, is having a rotator that will actually control the 3 axes, or is it 2 axes? 3 axes, I think it is. So you got up and down, left and right, and of course if it needs to turn. But that's for like, maybe it's like a special beam or something I might build one day for it. So you can get controllers and you can have the program actually constantly, so that antenna is constantly tracking that satellite and is locked on it at all times. It makes for much better images, of course, but you know, I don't have that ability at the moment, so I just go with what I get, and it works quite well for me. Now you can also record geostationary satellites on 1.6 gigahertz with this program. I haven't got a receiver at the moment that's capable of 1.6 gigahertz, but if you do, you can use that and record the geostationary satellites. The APT weather satellites are constantly in orbit and moving around the Earth, whereas the geostationary ones, they're in fixed orbits above, like the country you're in. Okay, so that's basically, that's all there is to it with weather fax decoding. So the only other thing that we really need to touch base on is HF fax. And what's the difference with HF fax? It's a signal sent over the HF radio waves. Usually marine radio sends this out, and you can look up their various frequencies quite easy if you look up HF fax frequencies. And there is 2 in Australia that use the HF frequencies, and they also transmit an audio voice as well, and that is VMC and VMW. VMW is for the west coast of Australia, VMC is for the east coast of Australia. I'll show you what a HF fax looks like, and I'll time lapse that, and then that will be the end of this video. So I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you've enjoyed it, please give me a big thumbs up, rate the video, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, guys. And if you liked it, if you need some more information, I also have an email address linked to the videos now at hamradiomanoz@hotmail.com. At hamradiomanoz@hotmail.com. Send me any emails you need or any information. But please comment and subscribe to the videos. Thanks a lot. Catch you on the airwaves. Cheers and 73s from the Ham Radio Man Oz.